Good evening. This is Carla from Rehan, Allahwala's World of Connections. And like always, I am going live with a live interview of Rabia T.Zeehan from Karachi, Pakistan. And we're going to find out all about her life, her work, and her passions. And she loves to talk, so it'll make it really easy for me. And I want to remind you, like all of my interviews, this interview will be sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace, one conversation at a time. Rabia, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, good evening, and thank you so much, Carla, for inviting me to your live interview. My name is Rabia T.Zeehan, and I live in Karachi, Pakistan. I am a stay-at-home mother of three very good children. My eldest daughter is 17 years old, and my youngest son is 7 years old. I am a housewife, and we live in a very big joint family system. That means we have all my in-laws living in the same one big house. I have done my bachelor's in computer science and information technology from the NED University of Karachi. I did that in 2004. And the interesting part is that when I did that, my eldest daughter was 6 months old. When I gave my final year examinations in the engineering university, I already had my eldest daughter. After that, I stayed at home and looked after my kids and their schools and everything. In 2018, since 2018, I have been volunteering with the Citizens Foundation, which is an institute which is working for good quality education in the most underprivileged areas of Pakistan. And also, I also work, and I'm a very keen supporter, you can say, of clean water. And I really believe that clean water should be available to everyone. It should be free, and drinking water, clean water should be it's a basic right which everyone should have. So one of my works is to take funds from many peoples and build water wells and hand pumps, or to build water purification plants where there is no clean water available. So that's a little of a summary of what my life is.
Wonderful. Now let's take a few steps backward. So you live in a joint family. I'm just curious, because if anyone's watching from the United States, they have no idea of how big a joint family could be. How many people actually live in that house?
We have 12 family members. And apart from that, we do have you can say, people who help us in our daily chores. So altogether, we are 15 people living in the same house.
Wow, that is amazing. And your children, are they both in school now, or?
My eldest daughter, she is 17 years old, and she is in her first year of college. My son, the eldest son, is 16 years old, and he's in high school. He's going to, it's his last year in school. And my youngest one is in class 2. He's 7 years old.
And are they all going to learn L2L school?
No. They're all three of them are in different schools, because my daughter went to an all girls school, which I preferred, and both of my sons are going to schools which are nearby to our house, because Karachi is very huge and the traffic is not good. I do not want them to send far off because it's a hassle to pick them and drop them, and it sometimes, if for a good school you have to drive for an hour to reach the school. So I did not want it to tire the children out during the commute. So I looked for schools which were like on walking distance or 5 minutes drive, not more than that. So both of them go to very nearby schools.
Oh, so that's kind of cool. And okay, let's get to your NGO. Can you tell me the name again of the NGO?
The Citizens Foundation, TCF.
Okay, and what does it do? Tell me about it.
Okay, the Citizens Foundation, I'll tell you a short history about it. It was created in 1995 by 5 friends. These were 5 friends who wanted to do something to change the environment of Pakistan, or to bring a positive change in the society, for the nation, for the people.
One thing, Rabia, can you slow your speech down?
Oh, yes, I can. I'll do that.
And the reason that I'm asking you to do that is that for people who are not used to hearing your way of speaking English,
Okay.
and also for those people who may be in Pakistan and just learning English and listening, it's a little too fast for them to understand.
I understand.
I know it's hard to do it, but
No, I agree, but I tried to learn it from Cynthia also, and from you also, that you all speak quite in a lower speed and with pauses. That is one thing I was also given a feedback about, that I should pause more often. So I was telling you about the Citizens Foundation. It was built by 5 friends who wanted to bring a positive change in Pakistan and to help their nation. So they thought about it, and uh, they had many ideas, like they could had opened a hospital also, or a place where they give free food. But in the end, they decided that it's education, which, if given to all the people, it will change their lives for better, and it will reduce poverty. So they would not be wanting free food or free health if they are able themselves to take care of them and their families. So they opened these purpose built campuses. These are not schools built in small houses. These are proper schools built on a huge land, which have 2 sections, the primary different and the secondary school, the high school different. And they focus on ownership, uh, humility, and they focus on personal growth, continuous growth. And they also give good quality education, not just because it's an NGO which is running a school. They do not compromise on the quality of education. They train their teachers well, and they keep everything, they make sure that the quality is ensured. So it's not a very misconception about the Citizens Foundation is that it's a school which gives free education. TCF believes that giving free education is not the answer, because then people do not own it. If they are not investing themselves in something, they do not give their best to it. So they keep a very minimal fees, that is like 100 rupees per month. That is less than $1. If you convert it into US, it's less than $1 per month. And it depends on how many people of the house are earning, because many of the children who go to the Citizen Foundation schools are themselves working part-time after school. Either they are sitting in a shop and helping the owner, or they are sitting with a mechanic and mending bikes, repairing bikes or cars, or they are themselves earning. And the girls, they go with their mothers to work in other people's houses to earn their uh, living, so that they can pay for their school. But the majority of the expense of the school is covered by donations. So my work as a volunteer was to mentor kids of class 8 and 9, because they live in the society which do not have any connection to the main outside main cities or the main they live in their villages or in their the slum areas only. They have never been outside, they have never seen a main road, they have never seen tall buildings, they have never meet professionals. So my work was like to go there and mentor the girls of class 8, the grade 8 and 9, and just to give them a little hope that yes, you can do good also, you can aim high also, and there is a whole wide world outside these premises and they can go and achieve whatever they want. So we went there just to guide them, mentor them, and to raise their hopes up.
Wow. How old are the kids who go to school here? There.
The schooling starts from pre-primary, primary, and then secondary. That is, they take admissions at the age of class 4, at the age of 4 years old when the child is 4 years old, and then it's a continuous education program till they're 16, and then they pass out from what we call here is matriculations. Over there, I think it's called O levels or high school. In
Yeah.
Pakistan, it's called metric system, matriculation. But the one thing which attracted me to the Citizens Foundation, the main thing which kept me going, which has kept me going to support them, is that they do not just give education till metric. They make sure that the students they have invested in for 10 years or 12 years, they keep on getting education even after that. They have an alumni development program which makes sure that the students who pass out from metric are, are given good education in their college, and then they go for higher education as well. They give scholarships to these students to their TCF alumni so that they can get higher education in engineering field, in medical field, in accounting, so they do not leave their children until they have gotten good jobs or scholarship. I have heard many students have even applied for scholarships in US and UK, and it was all the work of the TCF alumni department, which guided these children to go beyond. So this, I have seen many NGOs working in Pakistan for education, but they only work for the first 10 years till the metric. TCF was the only one which is looking after the children and not abandoning them after they pass out from school. They keep a track of all their students and make sure that they get higher education and get good jobs also.
I really love that because even here, students are not tracked. They graduate high school and that's the end of it. Now, how long has this been, have they started their schools from? They started in 1990 or?
1995.
Wow. And
They
how many?
They started with 5 schools, and in 2021 they are 1,687 schools in Pakistan.
Wow. And are they all over Pakistan now? Like, could you go to Gilgit and find a
Yes.
school? Or
Yes.
wow.
Even in Kashmir, they have many branches in Kashmir. They have in Balochistan, in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in every province.
Are they more in the villages than in the big cities? Or
Yes, they are not in the big cities at all. They are in villages and the slum areas which are developed outside the big cities. That the people, the laborers, the daily wages who work in the city, but they come from their own separate community and slum areas on the outskirts of the cities. So these are places just like a village, but very near to the cities. But mainly they are in villages.
now, do any of the kids from the city go to these schools too? Or
I think only few of them. For example, the students whose parents are the main one of the other thing which the Citizens Foundation focuses is they build the campuses right inside the heart of the community. So if it's a village, it will be in the middle of it, so that everyone can come, even if they do not have any conveyance, they can just walk out their door or of their homes and walk to the school. In cities that is not possible. So if you are in the main city, it's difficult that children will have the convenience to go to the school. But if they are in their communities, if they are in the areas and the communities which are on the outskirts of the city, then maybe if it's near to their house, they do go. These will be counted as the students of the city, because it will come in. For example, in outside Karachi, we have many areas like Mulla Isa Goat and Pir Sirindi Goat. These are goats. Goats means small occupation, a small land which is being, it's like a slum area or a very underprivileged area. Many of the schools do not have electricity all year round. They have for few hours only. So they built it purposely so that air can flow and they have enough sunlight so that they can study. So you will count those schools as in city, but not in the main metropolitan, but somewhere nearby, on the outside.
Wow. Now, it just sounds so fascinating. How did they build all these 100 and some schools in such a short amount of time, in a way? 25 years, that's
Yes.
a lot of work.
At the start, and when the foundation started, mm, very huge companies. Those five friends were, I think, owners of huge companies. They targeted main sponsors like brands who sponsored the TCF schools for the entire year. But as they grew, as the schools grew up, they started collecting donations from each individuals. My work as a volunteer, as a BAF, TCF BAF 1 volunteer, is to raise funds. That is what I have a team of more than 100 students who are working under me, and I guide them how to raise awareness about the Citizens Foundation and how easy it is to raise funds, because we TCF, what the motto of Bhagwan is, each one teach one. So if every one of us takes responsibility to sponsor one child's education, that would be enough for Pakistan. And we are really in a crisis right now after COVID. The education system has suffered a lot in Pakistan. Even previously, it was not that good, but after COVID, we have seen a lot of children drop out of schools because the parents cannot afford the education. So we really, really need, I think everyone in Pakistan and around the world needs to support institutes like the Citizens Foundation, which are working so passionately about education.
Now, are you also teaching like computer skills at the school? Can you talk about that? You know that there's a new Jungchai digital literacy school, but it's wonderful because they're teaching children and also the adults how to use smartphones and use it in order to advance in the world these days. So I'm wondering if you have a lot of that going on in your school.
Yes, the Citizens Foundation have a very well developed computer labs for the students. And I just told you that electricity is a huge problem in many of the
Yeah.
villages. So they make sure that either they have solar plates installed in their schools, and when it's the time for the computer classes, they make sure that the electricity is provided, or they have diesel power generated generators which are open for the time when the computer have to be used. So the students are being given education on computer, and they have new computers, new technology, and these students know how to operate a computer. Last year, when COVID hit and all the studies went online, it was really difficult because these are very poor children and they do not own a laptop at home. So the TCF alumni who were studying in universities like the Lumps University and the NIT University and the Baharial University, they were all given laptops by the Citizens Foundation so that they can take their online classes in the university because it was really important. The semester was going on and the students were lagging behind because they did not have laptops. So all the students of Pakistan, all the alumni of all universities came in and they donated laptops to the students of TCF. One thing you were asking, how did TCF grow so quickly from 5 schools to 16, more than 1600 schools?
Yeah.
There are people of Pakistan are very generous. The ones living here and the love, especially the ones who are living in the US and the UK. They really want to support education in Pakistan. We have a TCF USA chapter also, which is working to get funds. And many of the Pakistanis who are living in America and Canada and UK, they support these schools on regular basis.
How amazing. Are many of the students beginning to get like smartphones to use at home so they can continue their education?
I'll tell you what TCF did during COVID. What happened was all of a sudden there came this huge lockdown. Nobody was allowed to go outside
Yeah.
or go to schools. So the first thing which Pakistan, I don't know if you know about it or not, the Pakistan government did, we entered the lockdown in March 2020 and in April 2020 the Pakistan television and the government of Pakistan launched their teleschool because everyone has a television in Pakistan, or even if they do not have a mobile phone or a laptop. So what they did was create an entire channel where all the lectures of different classes used to come in a timetable. For example, on Monday, it's class 2 and class 3 will be getting their lectures. So the children of class 2 and 3 will sit, they can watch the TV and uh, the course and the teacher, there will be videos and lectures will be shown online on the television. And TCF also made one program which was called Ilm Ka Angan, which if you translate into English means the courtyard of education, something like that. Ilm Ka Angan, something like that. So it was a program which focused on the primary and the pre-primary students, and it was aired on Sundays and then re-telecasted throughout the week. Apart from this, for the elder children from grades 5 and onwards, what TCF did was publish a magazine. You can call it a workbook. It was a 15-day workbook for each standard, grade 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6. And after every 15 days, one parent was allowed to come to the school and submit the previous workbook and take the new workbook back home so that the child can continue his education even if they do not have a smartphone at home. And for the elder students who were in their board exams, who had to give their board exams, the class 9 and 10 students, what TCF did was they took many volunteers. They did a huge volunteer drive, and private counseling and private education was given to a group of 5 students by one volunteer. So education kept on going for the students of the Citizens Foundation. And, I would also like to appreciate the parents of the students who were keen to give education, and they were a part. No school or no organization can do it if the students and the children are not willing to do it. So I'm glad the parents came to the school and they made their children continue their education.
How amazing. That is incredible. Now, are you on the board of this organization?
I'm just a volunteer. I'm a volunteer myself.
That
Because I love the idea so much, I can't help creating awareness about it. I am in so, and I have seen their work. I have gone there to meet the students. If you see these students, they have so much energy and they have this passion to conquer the world. I don't think my children have that passion. I don't know what they're teaching there, how they are teaching there, but these students are full of hope and they want to give back to their school, first of all, and then they want to give back to their city and to the community and to Pakistan. They are responsible citizens. What the world I was looking for was the Citizens Foundation is raising responsible citizens. They know that they have to work together and also help their community.
and that is so important. I was just going to ask, do they, and I am going to ask, although I think you just answered, do they teach the children human values as part of the curriculum?
Yes.
And can you give me an example of how they do that?
Yes, they do teach human values, and I think that's on the top. In class 4 and 5, the students are made to plant uh, small trees and plants in their schools and in their vicinity, and they have to take care of those plants till they pass out in metric. So wherever you go, you will find a badge saying that these are the trees which we planted, and now look at them, they are so grown and so tall. So these children know that how much greenery is important. Apart from that, uh, I didn't prepare any presentation or something to show you, but the area in which these schools are built are really very crowded, and the houses are very close. So they are told to make their way clean to school. If they are coming to school, make sure that they clean it. They have a clean drive in their community, and they are taught that if there is something wrong in their community, you have to do it yourself. Apart from that, togetherness. Nobody. I'll give an example of the COVID situation. When COVID hit and we went into lockdown, many of the parents of the students of Citizen Foundation, they are daily wage workers. So if they work a day, then they get paid for it. Karachi was in lockdown for more than 5 months. They did not have anything to earn, and it was really bad for these people who were daily wage workers. They did not have groceries at home. The Citizen Foundation took a huge chunk of their donations, which because many people gave them for education, but they also said that you can use it for COVID relief. How to identify to whom to give the daily groceries and the monthly groceries? All the TCF alumni who were living, they came back to their areas, to their communities. They knew their neighbors. They knew the people living in the communities. They visited them. And then when the grocery items were collected by the TCF Foundation, these TCF alumni who had passed out from their school, they made sure that the most needy one got the groceries first and in night time, so that their dignity was not hurt. So just imagine that the students who had passed out 4 years ago or 5 years ago, they were in different cities getting their own education in higher universities, but they all went back to their hometown, to their community, because they knew that if their community is suffering, what's the use of that education if they cannot help it? So they helped their Citizens Foundation to provide these groceries and food items to their community on a personal level, so that it was not picturized, it was not marketed anywhere, it was done in a very, in a manner that nobody's self-esteem was hurt. It was great the way these PCS alumni students, they worked for their and one more thing they do is when they pass out and they get admission in good universities, they come back and they convince other parents to send their kids to school and see them as an example that auntie, if I can do it while living in this community, in this house next door to yours, so can your child do it. Send your child to school, send them for education. So these are the values which have been instilled in these students.
And it's so very important. Cynthia just wrote that you are in charge of 70 volunteers.
Cynthia, the number has increased. I have 122 student volunteers, and now I have more than 30 other volunteers who are not students, but they are working in different organizations and they are working people, they're professionals. So it's the number has increased. It's more than almost 150.
And how do you organize them?
I have
come and say, I have this skill, can I do this? Or
no, the student volunteers, I have made a separate group of them, and they are in different universities of Karachi. So I have made one team lead, you can say, or a head ambassador from each university who is my who. So the students have different kind of activities. They want to do art competition and raise funds, and nowadays it's more about the use of social media. So they want to make vlogs and raise funds, and they want to do some sketching on some computer app and raise funds, or they want to do fundraiser in their universities as well, or in an event. Or so the students have very different agendas of raising funds. On the other hand, the people who are working in offices or in organizations or multinational companies, they want uh, us to come and give presentations in their institutes and to raise awareness. So everyone has different agendas and everyone has different. So I do it through my WhatsApp group, and I made a broadcast list also. And we have trainings. The Citizens Foundation gives trainings also. It has keeps trainings for their volunteers. What is the Citizens Foundation? How it is? How can we raise funds? How can we use social media effectively to raise funds? So TCF works on that also. I am also giving training by my from the people who are working at the Citizens Foundation, because I have never worked professionally, but I am looking after these students because I have been given good training by the people who are working at the Citizens Foundation.
you're amazing. Earlier in the comments, your friend Ali Raza, who is also a friend of mine, said, she's so inspirational. I'm so glad you're talking to her. And what I just heard really touched my heart big time. I'm glad we're doing this interview. Glad. I was glad to get it done anyway, but now I'm over glad.
That's so kind of you. You yourself are a very amazing person, and you're inspiring many people too.
Thank you so very, very much. We are coming to the end. Actually, we are over 30 minutes already. Do you have any words of wisdom you'd like to leave our audience with?
One thing which I always say is be kind and be empathetic. Until and unless we stand in someone's shoes, we won't know what they're going through. Try to be empathetic rather than sympathetic.
And that's so very true, Rabia. I mean, we tend to react and say, oh, that person's being mean to me. What is that person going through today? You want to add a few more words to that? I love what you're saying.
That you said very truly, because we don't know what are the 100 worries a person is going through, and the way he's talking. Try to be kind. If we talk the same way, what's the difference between us? We have to show our education and our moral values by being kind and by being understanding and by being humble. This is one prayer which I always make to my God. Please keep my children humble. Please keep me humble. Because that's the thing which takes you places. Be humble when you are talking to people. Be humble when you are learning. I'm always ready to learn. We are never big enough or educated enough not to learn. You can learn at any age. Be humble enough to learn at any age.
Rabia, thank you so very, very much. I am so happy we did get to speak today. And thank you for the people who have been watching, because this woman is absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much, Carla, for so kind words.
You're amazing. And having said that, I want to remind everyone that this show was sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an organization created to promote peace, one conversation at a time. Rabia, can we wave goodbye? Bye, everyone.
Everyone.
I'll be back in a little while.